Frances Harper was born on September 24th, 1825, and she died on February 22nd, 1911. Although she was born free, she resided in Baltimore, Maryland, which was a slave state. When Frances was 3 years old, her mother died, and she had to be raised by her uncle William J. Watkins. He founded the Academy for Negro Youth, where he taught Harper how to read and write. Most importantly, he pushed her to study the history of abolitionism until she was 14 and capable of teaching herself. Harper grew to like reading, which led her to begin writing her own poetry. In 1845, a collection of her poems had been recognized. They were printed as The Autumn Leaves in a local newspaper, but were later published and titled Forest Leaves. It wasn't until 1850 that she decided to flee from Maryland to Pennsylvania because of the complications that would soon occur based on her being a free African American woman living in a slave state. In Pennsylvania, Harper worked alongside the chairman of Pennsylvania Abolition Society, William Steele, in efforts to help slaves escape alongside the Underground Railroad on their way to Canada. With all this going on, Harper continued to write, but her poems began to specifically talk about racism and the oppression of women. It was during the period of 1850 to 1852, when moved by the plight of fugitive slaves, she pledged her life services to the causes of abolition and racial justice. This influenced her to commit herself to the anti-slavery cause in 1854, when the fugitive slave law prevented her from returning to her home state of Maryland as a free woman. With her passion for literature and abolitionism, she began writing and speaking out against racism, sexism, and classism in many works, including poetry, lectures, short stories, and novels. In Harper's poems, it is more of an episode about life, but enough background was given to construct the entire life of a runaway slave. She once spoke to a group of people and stated, "Slavery can be considered the worst atrocity in the history of the United States. The inhumane nature of the institution and the human reaction of blacks to it are something that few of us, black or white, can comprehend in this society." Stories of suicide and even killing one's children to save them from the shackles are not uncommon in North America. On December 23, 1853, Frances Harper published one of her most famous poems, titled Eliza Harris. Harper sent a number of powerful messages through this poem. Like a fawn from the arrow and startled and wild, a woman swept by us, bearing a child. In her eyes was the night of a settled despair, and her brows was overshaded with anguish and care. She was nearing the river, and reaching the brink, she heeded no danger, she paused not to think. For she is a mother, her child is a slave, and she'll give him his freedom or find him a grave. It was a vision to haunt us, that innocent face, so pale in its aspect, so fair in its grace, as the tramp of the horse and the bay of the hound, with the fetters that guile, were trailing the ground. She was never by despair and strengthened by woe, as she leaped over the chasms that yawned from below. Death howled in the tempest and raved in the blast, but she heeded not sound till the danger was past. Oh, how shall I speak of my proud country's shame, of the stains on our glory, how give them their name, how say their banner in mockery waves, her star-spangled banner over millions of slaves, how say that lawless may torture and chase a woman whose crime in its hue of her face, how the depths of the forest may echo around with the streaks of despair in the bay of the hound.